Hi, Angie here with a great new program I wanted to share with you all about your feet, your ankles, your calves, your toes, your arch. And we're going to explore that. We're going to strengthen that, talk about that. So let's get started. I'm in bare feet and on the floor. I'm going to just tilt this. And here we go. So I'm going to, first thing, is I want to widen the stance, sink down in a nice squat, and support myself. Here, we're going to start with some squat rocking back and forth, just to get the ankles and calves warmed up a little bit. You can start to move gently back and forth. You can hold your hands in front of you, supporting yourself down on the base here. And this is one of the first things we're going to do. I hope if you need to pause it and go get a small bell or even a golf ball, that would be helpful. Definitely a little kettlebell. And if you can get a little towel or scarf, that would be good too. And we're just rocking back and forth. And this is opening up the hips. And we're already using our ankles, okay? Our feet are the foundation. We take them for granted. We need to move about on them all day long, and they're often encased in these bulky shoes that have a very narrow toe section for them. And so the toes get scrunched together like mine are a lot of the day when I wear these shoes. But we're going to talk more about that later. So we just did some squat rocking back and forth. And now you might not be able to see my head, but that's okay. I'm going to cross my legs, cross my feet rather. And then I just want to pump the calves up, go up on the toes, go up on the toes in one direction about 5 times, up and down. Just getting started here, enjoying these special movements. We're giving some love to the ankles and the toes and the feet. Now I'm going to switch sides, up and down. Maybe it's easier on one side than the other. Just raise the heel up. Raise the heel up, first on one side, then the other. And then, after we're done that, I want you to just go on your tippy toes, take tiny little steps on these, walking on your toes, And already you can start to spread them out. That is the key to strengthening your feet, is allowing your toes to spread out. Okay, and this is giving our calves, again, it's all related, right? Your feet are related to your ankles, are related to your calves, are related to your knees, and all so on, all the way up. Okay, so now speaking of hips, we're just going to bring your hip in, just to remind yourselves that it's all related. So just dip your foot in. We're kind of pivoting on the ankles. That's why we do that a lot in the warm-ups, right? We pivot on the ankle, and we're getting our hip into the motion too, because we're reminding ourselves it's all connected. Your amazing body is one body connected. Okay. And now we're going to have a seat. And this is what we're going to do. I'm just going to have a seat. And I would be outside on the grass, but I wanted to show you on a firm surface too. So I'm just going to bring one leg up over the knee, and we're going to start by recognizing the tendons in the feet. Now your foot has 26 bones, I believe, and so many tendons, so many little muscles. And what we're doing first is we're massaging the tendons that are on the top of your foot, right here, between the toes and your ankle. And you're just going to find them with your fingers, give them a little pressure, and gently rub them. Gently rub them. I don't care if you have a nice pedicure right now, but we're just feeling the shape of our foot, and we're just kind of warming up the surface, the top of the foot. We're not neglecting that either. So first on one side and then on the other side. And you can make long sweeping motions too. You can do little pressure all the way up and down. And you can bring it with your thumbs or your fingers around the sides of each of those tendons, just like a nice massage up and down on your feet. Okay, excellent. Then we're gonna bring it over to one side. One hand is gonna grasp the heel. One hand is gonna grasp the toes, and we're gonna gently pull them apart. So it's gonna rotate the opposite direction. And this way, we're never gonna have pain when we're doing this. It's just to getting to know your foot and moving it in ways that will help us with the foot mobility, right? Because your foot is impacting the ground every time you take a step, and then it's got to push off too. It's got to have stability and flexibility, okay? And that's where the strengthening comes in, and some more of the toe action and arch that we're going to explore in just a few minutes. So if you think of your heel touching the ground and then pushing off. So these exercises, we're just using them to explore the foot, get to know our foot, appreciate our feet, so we can take care of them, so they can be strengthened and not prone to all the foot issues that maybe, hopefully we haven't suffered in the past, but maybe we know someone who has suffered, and we want to avoid that. So we're just pushing it one direction first, and then you can clasp it the other way and bringing it apart the other direction. So if my toes are coming to this side, then the heel, it doesn't move as much, of course, to the other side. And then I want to take the other foot up. I want to move, a tiny bit dusty here. We're going to just move this over here. And then notice the pads in your feet. Of course, you have thicker on the sole, thicker right here on the ball of your foot and on each of your toes, especially the big toes. Okay, so that when your foot is touching the ground, it's usually with these 3 points here. These 3 points where it's connecting with the ground. Okay, so just a little bit more massage. And then, what's next? I want to show you that you can use your kettlebell to, if you have a kettlebell or a golf ball, as I mentioned, you can also massage the bottom of your foot under your arch. And I'm gonna stabilize it with my other foot here. Or maybe you can do it on a carpet or something. And you can rub that around on your foot, on the bottom of your foot. Okay, and then the other side, under your arch, just pressure. Just do what feels good. It might be an interesting sensation, might be the first time that you're doing that, but you're bringing it around to the various surfaces underneath, and just gentle, easy as you go. If it's feeling good, then you can explore it a bit more. And then what you want to do is, if I can have my assistant here can come over, and we're going to step up. I don't need this quite yet. I'm going to step up on the bench, and what I want to show you is my assistant, if she just steps forward naturally, puts her weight on this is a bit low, right? Normally we'd have a bit more of a curve. Even when I'm pressing on it, you can see how this one is a little flatter than this one. Okay, and so we don't want to have fallen arches. We don't want to promote that. We want to work to strengthening this, not so it's rigid, but just so it gives more support so we can have healthy feet. And how we're going to do that is, one way is we're going to practice taking our big toe out, away from the other toes. So if you can practice doing that, show me how you can. I'm going to zoom in here. Show me how this toe can move away. Can I get the camera? Away from the other toes. So without physically doing it, and this is something you can practice every day, maybe before you go to bed or when you wake up in the morning. Practice bringing this toe, we want it to come out like that, but without hurting, without forcing it, like I just kind of did with my finger. But we want to practice. Now we're going to lift up the toes, lift up all the toes, spread them out, spread out all the toes, and then relax them down in that spread position. Okay? Now, I don't know if you noticed this, but I have a bit of a bunion from when I wore some boots that were cute, but unfortunately it was a mistake, and I got a bunion because it was pressure. These boots were too small and they were pushing on my foot, and I walked around like that for a bit of a winter, a good part of a winter, and that was a mistake because I got a bunion. It was extremely painful, and I was very worried it would always be painful. That's what some people had scared me with. But you know what happened? I was training barefoot, and thankfully my foot got stronger, and I was training barefoot so that my foot could grip the ground, could feel the different levels of the ground, and compensate and get stronger, and it did, and the pain went away, thankfully. Now I never have pain in this, but I am aware that you have to be kind to your feet, okay? And I want to work on spreading the toes apart. Of course, what we do on one foot, we're going to do on the other foot too. So you lift the toes, and already when you lift the toe, you can see that the arch becomes more pronounced. Her arch is becoming more pronounced when the toe is lifted. Now spread as much as you can, and then settle the toes down. And already her foot is more pronounced. Now, I'm not a physical therapist. I'm not a foot doctor or a podiatrist or anything like that, but you can try these and see how they might work for you and help your feet feel better, help your feet get stronger, okay? And so there is a disclaimer in there, but if there's anything I can do to help your feet feel better and stay strong and stay healthy, then that would be good. And we just got a few more things to go through. So you can try it on the other side with your other foot if you haven't already. And yeah, so that's holding the arch. Holding the arch. Can you do it without, you can slide this toe toward your heel, and that will make the arch more pronounced too. So slide the toes toward the heel. And now I want you to try you already tried bringing the toe away from the other toes. Now I want you to try raising the big toe, keeping the other 4 toes flat on the surface. And this is very difficult actually. So can you try that? Raise your big toe. It's hard, okay? So if you don't see any movement, there is a lot of effort here, but it's hard. Now I can kind of do it on one toe, maybe not on the other foot. So give that a try and see for yourself how difficult it is. So raise your big toe, keep your other toes pressed into the surface. It's not easy, but it's a good exercise. Now it might be easier to do the opposite. Keep your big toe down and raise your other toes. You can see I'm doing it here. Let's see if the other foot's got it. Keep the big toes down and raise the other toes. Yep, I can do that too, and I feel it. I feel it down here, where my bunion used to give me a lot of pain. Now it's still a bit knobby looking because of the tissue that was built up there, but it's not painful. I can still walk tons, no problem. Okay, so you tried it. Good, keep trying it while I move along to the next one. And no, we already did that, and you don't want to cross your toes against each other either. So you want to avoid your toes basically you want to avoid your toes crashing into each other or being smushed together. And so that is why it's important to take a look after this is over. You can go find your shoes and see, compare the toe boxes. So the space that is for your toes. And if you can, get rid of the ones that are smushing them together, that are too narrow for your feet, okay? Too narrow for your poor toes, because we want to, as I say, build them up, and we want to spread out the toes. Might not look as pretty because in our culture we like the tiny toes, the delicate looking feet, but it's for your health and for how good you're feeling in your body. And you want to avoid things like plantar fasciitis if you can, and bunions, like I mentioned. Nobody wants that. So now what we're going to do is, thank you to my assistant, she might be back in a moment. Now what we're going to do is we're going to place the toe on the handle of the bell and then raise the heel. So you're pushing into it, and this is another little exercise. And notice where your knee wants to go too. Does your knee want to go buckle inward? Well, try to keep it more aligned, okay? It's just a little thing to notice. Raising your foot and putting, but we would never have pain when we're doing this, right? We would always just do it to the level that is feeling good. And you can do that for about 30 seconds on each side. And you notice that your calf is getting a bit of a pump too. And that's kind of nice. Have your toes elevated on the handle, your arch, pressing it in. So it's just playing with the angles. Your feet are absorbing the shock of the impact every time you're taking a step. Your foot is absorbing the shock, and then you're propelling yourself forward, lifting off the toes. That's why we need the strong toes. And if I can encourage you to try to go barefoot as much as you can. And I like to work out barefoot. It's up to you, of course. But this way we can do things naturally and avoid some of those things. So if I can have my assistant come back, there's one little thing I want to leave you with, fun little game activity, whatever you want to call it. So you're sitting there watching TV or playing a game with your family, and you have this scarf on the ground, or you can get an old towel or something. And what are you going to do? Okay, I'm going to pick it up. Oh, you can't see this. I'm going to pick it up with my foot. And now we're going to have a little tug of war. Who's going to win? I'm going to win. I won. Okay, this is kind of weird, but the point is you can just do this by yourself. Practice picking up something. Oh, she won. Aw. Practice picking up something with your foot. Now change feet, and then 1, 2, 3, go. Tug of war. Ah. Oh, yay, I won that time. Well, she wasn't even holding on. Okay, ready, steady, go. Oh, okay, she won again. Good job. And yeah, so I hope that's helpful for you. And take care. If you have any questions, let me know. See you next time.